know that this is the encasement in which the Spirit has found a home. And so in this moment, we give thanks for the Spirit willingly showing up and being who we are in this moment. And so because we are Spirit, because we are recognizing, realizing, and knowing who we are recognizing our power, our authority to live our lives in beauty and joy, in wonder, and in all the goodness that the Spirit within us desires for us, provides for us, and gives to us with absolute ease. And so we come together this morning to celebrate this, to know it, to believe it, to accept it, and to begin adjusting our thought in such a way that we live it on a day-to-day basis. And so I know we begin today with joy and gratitude for this knowingness, for this belief, for this acceptance, and for this teaching that encourages us to know who we are. And so it is.
So it is.
If you'd like to stand with me, we'll do our vision and mission statement and our declaration of principles. CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. In our declaration of principles, I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick and the changing of conditions through the power of this mind, because God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. And we have new
Are you
songs.
ready for a song, everybody? All right, well, we are too.
We have a song that everyone knows, and we want you to join in.
Use me, oh God, I stand by you, and here I find that you show me all that I must do.
And so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, guiding us to shine His light as me. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning. Very glad to be here today. Today's reading is from Ageless Body, Timeless Mind by Deepak Chopra. I would like you to join me in a journey of discovery. We will explore a place where the rules of everyday existence do not apply. These rules explicitly state that to grow old, become frail, and die is the ultimate destiny of all. And so it has for many centuries thereafter. However, I want you to suspend your assumption about what we call reality, so that we can become pioneers in a land about what we call reality. It is our pioneers' dream to become in this land what we call joyful, vigor, renewal, creativity, joy, fulfillment, and a timeless, and we are a common experience of everyday life. We are old age, senility, infirmity, and death do not exist, and are not even entered or even entertained in our possibilities or in our mind. If there is such a place, what is preventing us from going there? It is not some dark, continuing landmass or dangerous, uncharted sea. It is our conditioning, our current collective worldwide view that we are taught by our parents, teachers, and society. This is the way of seeing things in the old paradigm, has aptly been called the hypothesis of social conditioning. And in fiction, in which we have collectively agreed to participate, your body is aging beyond your control because it has been programmed to live out the rules of the collective conditioning. If there is anything natural or inevitable about the aging process, it cannot be known until the chains of our old beliefs are broken. In order to create the experience of ageless body and timeless mind, which is the promise of this book, you must discard all assumption about who you are and what your true nature of the mind and body is. Thank you.
Connie and I have a song for you by Daniel Nahmod. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show decision is right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision, and no one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, and my decision is right here and now. All right, I hear everybody out there singing, and I like it. Okay. You know this one, right? All right, I got one more verse for you. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, and my decision is right here and now. And my decision is right here and now. Woo! Good job.
The decision, but we have a lot of other decisions too. We make them all the time. We are busy making decisions. Yes, we are. Wake up in the morning deciding to stay here and be alive. Well, a number of years ago, we're talking about our living everyday wonder in our body this month. And as I was preparing this talk this morning, I was remembering a trip that my husband and I took in 1994. We went to Europe. It was it's both of us, our first trip. And we went to England, Belgium, France, and his sister lived in Italy at the time, so we went to Milan, down that way. She was in Milan. We went to Venice for a day or two, and then we came back home. So we were gone like about 10 days. But I dragged him to every cathedral we could find in England and France. Okay, I know he was tired of that, another church. See, he saw them as churches, but they are really cathedrals. They are monsters. If you have ever been there, they are huge. They have taken years and years and years to build with stonemasons and whatever. And at the time, labyrinths were becoming very, very popular, and people were doing them all over. I had read a book, I can't think of the minister's name. She was a minister up at the Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, and we had gone up there, a group of us had gone up there to walk the labyrinth that they had at Grace Cathedral, and it was modeled on the one at Chartres in France. So guess who wanted to go to Chartres? We went to Chartres. And here's the thing, we get there and oh, let me see this labyrinth, right? We're just all excited because I'm coming to see where the original kind of labyrinth was and in all this history, and I'd read this book and everything. They got it covered up with chairs. I mean, it was like this, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm talking to the man, who's the the tour guide, that toured us around, he's like, yeah, it's here. It's like, it's no big deal. But it had become this thing, right? Perception. It was a big thing to us, and yet at the same time, here's the man who's living with it, and he's not walking it every day. He's not. It's no big deal to him. But there was that. But there was one other thing that just struck me in all the ones we went to. Because we went to several. Every single one, the stage, this part here was all very elaborately done. It was very large and spacious and had pulpit areas, but the pulpits were not here. The pulpits were like off to the side and up in the air on two sides sometimes. And guess what were holding them up? Angels. Angels were holding up the pulpits. So this is the thing. This is the image, is that the people saw the clergy speaking from these high points, right? And who's holding them up? The angels. So what they're teaching the people is this is the hierarchy of spirituality or religion. It's not spirituality, it's religion. The hierarchy is God is at top, and then Jesus, because it's Christians, Jesus comes next, and then you have all the various levels of clergy, the bishops and the popes and all that kind of stuff. So all of that level, and they're held up by angels. And guess where you are? Down there, looking up, looking up. And so that hierarchy was the religious hierarchy, but it was also the secular hierarchy too, because you had the royalty, the king, queens, and all that up there. Now I'm talking Western, right? I'm not talking the whole world, because everybody, this is not a whole world thing. This is a Western philosophy kind of thing. All right, so you have your kings and queens and that kind of royalty level. Then you have what? The aristocracy, which is various levels of aristocracy, okay? And then who do you have next underneath there? You have merchants, which are looked down upon by the aristocracy. And then you have the peasants, okay? You and I mostly likely, unless we were landowners, were peasants, because the peasants worked for who? The landowners. And this went on well into the 19th century. It's not that long ago, but something started to happen in the mid-1800s, 19th century, okay? Phineas Quimby and others and Anton Mesmer discovered subjective mind and hypnotism. And so that is what we consider to be the beginning of New Thought. Okay, so that starts mid-1850s, and then they studied more. And you had Mary Baker Eddy, studied with Quimby and created Christian Science, and then came along Emma Curtis Hopkins and the Fillmores and Ernest Holmes and and in England there was Judge Troward, who was doing a New Thought, and Emmett Fox actually too was doing the New Thought philosophy in Britain. And so all of that was starting to get stirred. So that's happening on a spiritual or religious level. And then what else is happening? You have Max Planck, and you have Einstein, and the other physicists who are now discovering what? A new reality. Stop and think about that. A new reality. They're saying, we've been looking at things wrong. This is not the same. This is really not what's going on here. And so we have science. That's why science of mind is called science of mind, because Ernest Holmes and the New Thought people, they studied the science. They were studying, Ernest Holmes, if you look in the book, Ernest Holmes talks about Max Planck, okay? And he has others, Niels Bohr, and several scientists, physicists were busy working and turning out stuff at the time. And Einstein came along and turned everything upside down. And then we have all the 20th century physicists who coming along. Well, in the 90s, who comes along but Deepak Chopra? Now, we've all probably heard of Deepak Chopra, but he wrote books. But the one I want to talk about today is the one that she read from today, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. Have you noticed ads for hair color, cover up the gray, and wrinkle stuff is done by women in their 20s? I mean, it's like, stop and think about that. All this ageless stuff, it's like it's aimed at those of us who are 30. Okay, you have to start when you're 30 because you have to, and then they have for us older people, right? What do they have? The Predigen or other stuff like that to help with your memory, because your memory goes as you age and your skin begins to wrinkle and that crepey stuff. Okay, right? We've got all this stuff. I mean, you can't sit at the TV for 5 minutes before you see something that has to do with aging. Either it's hair color or your skin or your drapey stuff, or something that has to do with aging. Memory, that's the other one. It has to do with memory. I get so sick and tired of almost, there's like some shows, it's like that Predigen is just pounding and pounding and pounding. It's like, there's nothing wrong with my memory. I'm fine. Yeah, there's things I forget sometimes, but that's natural and normal, okay? I forgot things when I was 10 years old, right? I mean, it's just like what's coming in right now and what's not coming in. And so, it's normal to have some memory loss, but not, I don't mean loss, but forgetfulness. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So we've had this worldview of this hierarchy that says some people are high and some people are low. And the high people get to tell the low people what to do. And New Thought came along and said, no. Each and every one of us is a spiritual being, and God is using us to express itself in the world. And that means you are powerful. That means you can make up your own mind. That means you can change your life. It means you can choose to decide that you're going to love, that you are going to be who you want to be, not who you are born into being. And so Deepak Chopra, in his book, he has some really very conscious ideas. And he starts the book out right after what she read, because Kathy read the first page. And then he goes into the assumptions that we have made over the years, okay? That our worldview, in the Western world, this is the worldview that we have been given when we were born into this world, okay? So Marsha, the first slide is mind. Mind and body are separate and independent from each other. That's what we've been taught. Stop and think about it. What do you think is disconnected from your experience? Kids, don't think about it, just do what you're told. Remember being told that? Don't think about it, just do what you're told. What are they doing? They're separating your mind and body. They don't want you to think. They're saying, you know what? I will tell you what to do. There's your parental hierarchy, okay? In some arenas, they call it adultism. So the adult knows is the hierarchy person, and the child is the lower person. And how many of us would, what's that phrase? It skipped my mind just now. Children are seen and not heard. What does that mean? That means you have a body, you're a child, so they recognize that you're here. But heard, not heard means you don't have anything to say. And if you don't have anything to say, it's because you can't what? Think. And you're not supposed to think for yourself, right? So you've been taught from the time you were a child, and children nowadays are being taught the same. They're being told a different way, but they're being told the same thing. Okay? That children are seen and not heard. Okay, so your mind and body are separate, but mind and body are inseparably one. That's what science of mind teaches. It's been teaching that all these years. And the scientists, the physicists, not all scientists, but the physicists have come along and said, you know what? They are one. They are not separate. They are not distinct one from the other. Okay? The science of mind teaches, the science of mind, in the textbook, it says, the unity that is me separates into two streams of experience. No, this is Chopra, I'm sorry. The unity that is me separates into two streams of experience. I experience the subjective stream as thoughts, feelings, and desires. I experience the objective stream as my body. At the deeper level, however, the two streams meet at a single creative source. It is from this source that we are meant to live. What is that? That is science of mind. Okay, it's just like the unity that is me. That is, the unity is what? The oneness. And it separates into two streams of experience, which is we talked about the conscious and the subconscious, or the conscious and the subjective, right? The conscious part and the creative part, the creative medium is the subjective part, right? I experience the objective stream, the body, and that science of mind sees the body also as the objective. The objective is what you see in the world. The plants, the trees, the flowers, the world, you and I, our bodies. Those are the objective piece. At the deeper level, however, the two streams meet at a single creative source. And so we just see it, from body, spirit, up to a body, soul, or subjective, up to the conscious part, the creative part, the spirit part. Okay, so we've divided it to three. He's done the same thing. I bet he didn't know about science of mind when he did it either. Okay, so oh, by the way, he has come and spoke to when he did this book, they had him come to Silomar. He spoke to the ministers, and so it was really interesting because we were just sitting there like, really? I mean, you're a doctor and you're teaching everything that we're teaching. Isn't this great? Because what's happening? Our teaching is being validated. Okay, before that, it was like, it's a philosophy. I mean, we had such great times in the 90s talking about quantum physics because quantum physics was proving everything that Ernest Holmes and the other New Thought teachers were teaching. Okay, so the second one is, as individuals, we are disconnected and self-contained entities. And the new paradigm, he says, although each person seems separate and independent, all of us are connected to patterns of intelligence that govern the whole cosmos. Our bodies are part of a universal body, our mind an aspect of a universal mind. Just stop and think about that. That's the same thing we teach. Okay, this old perception is that we're disconnected. And you know what? It is that feeling, that disconnection that allows soldiers to go to war and kill. But even soldiers know that they're not separate. You know how they know? Because they are taught that the enemy is evil. They demonize the evil, the enemy. They call them names that are less than human. Stop and think about that. Every single war, that's what happens. What is happening right now to the Russians? They're being demonized, right? By the whole world, or a lot of the world anyway. Okay, so when that happens, what are we doing? We're saying, you are not like me. But they are just like us. You know, just before the Berlin Wall fell, I was still teaching. And we used to go to these workshops. And there was one in San Francisco that we went to. And there were women there who had gone to Russia and met with Russian women. And it was during the time that the Russians were in Afghanistan. And they were coming back going, you know, those Russian mothers are crying over the sons that died. And Rita and I looked at each other and said, yeah? Wouldn't you expect that? No, you wouldn't, because what have we been taught? We grew up in school talking about communism, and Russians were communists and they were evil, right? Remember though? I mean, you're old enough to remember this, right? And so what are they doing? They're separating us, but we intuitively know that we're not separate. And that's what Deepak Chopra is teaching. But as long as we're walking around here going, you and I are different, then we can't embrace the inclusivity that we are as human beings. So then the next one is, our perception of the world is automatic and gives an accurate picture of how things are. And the new paradigm is, perception appears to be automatic, but in fact, it is a learned phenomenon. If you change your perception, you change the experience, your body, and your world. It's simply said as, change your thinking, change your mind. All those words, and that's what it means, okay? But the perception in the old paradigm is simply, it's about being right. And we work on, I am right. That's my perception. And my perception is different from yours. And so that's how you get people in hospitals during the pandemic going, I don't have COVID. And nurses and doctors saying, you do have COVID. We've tested you. We've tested you a number of times. You have COVID. You have all the symptoms. You are here in the hospital. We are putting you on a ventilator because you have COVID. And they're going like, nope, I can't have COVID. I don't have COVID. Why? Because of this. Our perception of the world is automatic and gives an accurate picture of how things are. Even when we're wrong, we see it differently, okay? And so it's about being right. And Chopra is saying, no, you don't have to keep that perception, okay? It's one that you have been taught. And you can unteach yourself, just like Daniel Naaman, just like the song. I can choose differently. I can choose to love. I don't have to choose to see everybody as an enemy. Okay. Next one is that time exists as an absolute, and we are captives of that absolute. No one escapes the ravages of time. And then the new paradigm is, time does not exist as an absolute, but only eternity. What we call linear time is a reflection of how we perceive change. Now I'll prove this to you. Have you ever started a project and lost track of time? It's like I lost track of time. Oh my God, it's 5 o'clock already? Okay, and it takes, 15 years for us to learn about time. It takes 15 years before we finally get into a place where, I understand time. That's why so many of us run late all the time, because we're still living in an eternity. Stop and think about that. Okay, some of us, it's a cultural thing. But, the thing is that time is a construct of humanity. And what we have done is created, minutes and seconds and hours and so forth and so on. And we've divided up time and then made it look like it's something that is real. And they're saying, no, it's not. But as long as we think it is, okay, then it will be. All right, so it's like, it takes, we go, somebody lives 100 years, you go, wow, they lived 100 years. Do you know how many people are living 100 years now? I mean, lots and lots of people are living to be 100. Why? Because they're not living in that time constraint of, I only have so many years. Now, some people, I've heard somebody say something about wanting to live to be 120. I'll tell you, I don't want to live to be 120. Not because my body won't handle, because I don't want to be here that long. You guys are really nice, but I'm not interested in being here that long. I am interested in finding out what comes next. So, Anyway, but some people want to live to be, sure, you can. Why? Because your body is built to do exactly that. All right. Do you realize that every cell in your body rejuvenates every 7 years? All of the cells in your bodies have replaced themselves in 7 years. So every 7 years, you have a whole new body. Think about that. Think about that. But we don't know that, right? If we have a whole new body, guess what? We don't have to look differently. I've seen pictures of people who, that's them when they were 10. Oh my God, you can't even recognize them. Okay? But some of us, yeah, you can see the difference. You can see. I had twin cousins, right? And for the longest time, only their father could tell them apart. And then they started growing up and having different experiences. And guess what happens? They look different. They look different. And now you can tell them, they've both passed away now, but you could tell them, by the time they were adults, you could tell them apart because they had, and you look at twins, any set of twins who are older, even though they'll maybe change their hair color or whatever, but you look at their faces and you can tell the difference between them because their perceptions have changed, their world experience has changed, and it shows in our body and in our faces, regardless of how we started out, if we started out looking like somebody else. Okay, so the next one and the last one, he has 10, but I'm only sharing 5 with you today. And this one is, we are not victims of age and sickness and death. Suffering is necessary. It is part of reality. We are inevitable victims of sickness, aging, and death. That's the old paradigm. But the new paradigms, we're not victims of aging, sickness, and death. We're not victims. Victims means what? It means we're powerless. We're not. We are quite capable of living the life that we choose to live. And that's the wonderful thing about Science of Mind. Science of Mind teaches you, live the life you choose. Change your thinking, change your life. Live the life that you choose to live. When we know who we truly are, we know that we are divine expressions and not powerless victims moving through life, struggling against aging, sickness, and death. Stop and think about that. That's a powerful idea. It's a really, really powerful idea. We've been given this hierarchy saying that some people are above us and some people are below us. When the reality is, in God's eyes, we all got a body. We all have, and the thing is, as long as we have the perception that there's this hierarchy, that God's up there, Jesus is here, the clergy is here, okay, and all the other stratifications beneath. In this country, we have classes, we have billionaires, right? Have a billionaire come in this door? Not happening. I wish he would. But why? Because this is not his environment, right? So what's happening? We've got this hierarchy going on right here in our own country. Okay? Stop and think about the hierarchies we live with. And those hierarchies are embodied in our body, right? Because we start taking care of ourselves in accordance with where we are in the hierarchy. Stop and think about that. If we have money, then we feel like, oh, we can go do this and we can do that. We can take vacations and whatever. But if we don't, then we are struggling along. Look at what's happening right now with the inflation, right? Some people are just going, oh my God, the prices are so high, I can't just live. And others are going, oh, let's go buy some more stocks. It's a good time to buy them, right? Okay, a few years ago when we had I think it was 2007 and 2008, when people were losing their houses left, right, and center, right? And others were doing what? Running around, snatching them up as fast as possible, and became, millionaires because they had the wherewithal to go to the bank and get some loans, get some money, and go buy some stuff, and then go sell it for higher prices. So the thing is your perception, right? How many of us did that? I didn't do it. Okay? But some people did. Stop and think about that. What? Because we're all fixed in some place in the hierarchy. And science of mind says it is not a fixed position. And Deepak Chopra and the physicists are saying it is not a fixed thing in your life. Whatever has been your past does not have to be your future. Look at your program. Where is it? Underneath here somewhere. Because I just had it, so I know it's here. In our program, we had the Declaration of Principles. I do that. No. Oh, no wonder. Took it over here. Okay, so look at our Declaration of Principles. We read this every Sunday. The universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God. Okay? The spirit, which is God, and it operates, it moves. In other words, its vehicle for coming into form is the law, the mind. And that we are surrounded by this creative mind. It surrounds us. We are here. It's like the air we breathe. It receives the direct impress of our thoughts. So we think and it is impressed by it, okay? And it acts upon it. It takes our thought and acts upon it. So when we say, I have decided to love more, then it says, oh yeah, well, here's Sandy. Give her a hug. That's a loving, it's a loving gesture. Okay, so the Spirit creates opportunities for us to do what it is we have decided that we are going to do. And then he says, we believe in the healing of the sick and the changing of conditions. What is that? That's the new paradigm. Ernest Holmes wrote this years ago, long before these guys. Okay, we believe in the changing of conditions. We can, in other words, you can change the conditions that you have in your life, whatever those life conditions may happen to be. You're not stuck with them. You're not stuck with them. Okay, so the next slide, the one with the things, with the the one that I told you were a summary? Yeah, okay. I got to find them myself. Okay, all right. It would have been nice if I had put these in order. So I will just read them from up here. Okay, so here's some thoughts from Deepak Chopra in summary. It would be impossible to isolate a single thought or feeling, a single belief or assumption that doesn't have some effect on aging, either directly or indirectly. So what is he saying? Every thought you think is creating you getting older or staying, the way you are or getting young. Your thinking is making it so. Next one. Our cells, check this out. Our cells are constantly eavesdropping on our thoughts and being changed by them. When people started looking at cancer and realizing that cancer had a connection to their thinking and their behavior, people started getting healed from cancer. Bertie Siegel wrote a book years and years ago. Him and there were a couple others that wrote books about all they did was help people to change the way they were thinking about their cancer. And at the time, they were teaching them how to, visualize killing the cancer cells with sharks and stuff like that. Okay. And then they found other ways of dealing with it as they progressed. But they started realizing that cancer had a lot to do with how people were thinking. They know that arthritis has to do with being angry. Louise Hay wrote a whole book on what your thinking created in your body. So, the thing is that our cells are eavesdropping. Our body is listening to what we're saying. Why? Because our mind is our thoughts, okay? And our mind is creating, and our body, the cells are going like, oh, you want me to create this? Okay. I'd be happy to create it. And it's like the subjective mind. The cells don't go, you're going to create something that's not good. They don't do that. They just eavesdrop and say, I got my marching orders. Let's go. Think about that. Consider that. It's like you don't need a bunch of creams and stuff. You just need to sit down every day and go, I'm getting younger and more beautiful every day. Okay. I try doing that for a year and see what happens. The next one. Joy and fulfillment keep us healthy and extend our life. If we're joyful and happy, it extends our life. Why? Because our cells go, oh, you want joy? Oh, I know how to do joy. I know how to do that. Right? Okay, I think the last one. About a bout of depression that should be a bout. Yeah, I made a mistake. A bout of depression can wreak havoc with the immune system. Falling in love can boost it. Woo! Ooh. And you don't have to just fall in love with people. You can fall in love with dogs and cats and animals and, the forest and all that kind of stuff too. They're all part of life, right? Despair and hopelessness raise the risk of heart attacks and cancer, thereby shortening life. Despair and hopelessness. And you stop and think when people, even if you get a cancer diagnosis, what happens immediately? It goes down, right? They start fearing. If we live in fear, that's the same thing as despair and hopelessness. So we've talked about fear last month or a couple months ago or whenever. It's not a good thing to do. If you find yourself feeling hopeless or in despair or fearful or whatever, ask yourself, what is generating this? And then ask, that's what's happening now, okay? Then you ask yourself this question. What was the youngest age that I can remember feeling like this? So let's say that you're afraid of being sick, okay? What is the youngest age you can remember being afraid of being sick? For me, it was when I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old. It was my birthday. I had a birthday party, and I could not go. My cousin went in my stead. She doesn't even remember going. She doesn't remember the whole experience. But I remember very clearly, I had scarlatina and I could not go. The doctor said, you're in bed and that's it. And I had to be there for, I don't know how long. All I remember is I missed my birthday party, my 8th birthday party. Guess who hates being sick? See, it started then, right? Almost all of our problems started when we were children. All the thoughts and beliefs that we have, grown up with and moved into adulthood with. So all our beliefs, you look at our parents and say, wow, they look so old. That idea that when you get to be older, you're going to look old. That gets planted when you're a child. Okay, so if you find yourself feeling, hopeless or despair or unhappy or whatever, just go back. Just don't stop at what's happening now. It has its roots, I promise you, in the younger ages. And then you can do what at that time? Go back and change it. Because it's timeless. Remember? It's timeless. This timeless is in eternity. You just go back, close your eyes, and go like, all right, I am ready to be done with this. I'm going to create a new paradigm, a new thought. And from this moment on, I'm telling my cells, do not be afraid of being sick. You just keep affirming that. Do you see? You have the power to change your life. The biggest problem is dealing with the belief that you do not have that power. Because from the time we were born, they told us that we were powerless. It was a lie, but that's all they knew at the time. We know something different, and because we know something different, we can do something different. So, thank you, Ernest Holmes. Thank you, Deepak Chopra. Let's close our eyes and turn within. Oh, one more thing before you do that. Here's a wonderful affirmation. If I can find it, I wrote it. I didn't give this to Marcia because I figured I had given her enough. My body is the house of the divine on earth. My body is the house of the divine on earth. Now, when you think about that, how do you want to treat that body that God has given you? Let's close our eyes. And I am just grateful for the body that I live in. And just make these words your own. I am so delighted with the body that I am living in, for it is the body that the divine is housed in. It is my connection to the spirit of life itself. It is the way in which the spirit moves through the world. It moves gently, joyfully, lovingly, peacefully, and gloriously in me. And I am so, so thankful that this is so. I am that one life. I am that one truth. And that life, that truth, lives and moves and expresses itself in, through, and as all that I am. Absolutely nothing interferes with the knowingness of who I am from this moment on. For I live and walk and express myself in the deep grace of the divine from this moment on. God is my life. I am unified with it. Every thought I think, every feeling I feel, every action I take, every word I speak is the divine speaking in, through, and as me. It is me walking this earth in form. And I am right here and now remembering who I am and making myself fully and completely available to it to express in the world. Absolutely nothing gets in the way of my being fully and completely who I am. I choose now to live the life that I am meant to live from when I came into this world. What I have forgotten, I am now remembering. And from this moment on, I am truth walking in form. I am the divine expressing fully and completely in this body, and I rejoice that it is so. I am happy with it, and I am fulfilled because I am living the life that I choose to live. And so it is with gratitude and thanksgiving that I know that this is the truth that is being accepted by the creative mind in this very moment. And it is working out how to live through me, as me, in this very moment. So I can release and let go and just allow myself to follow in the steps that the truth has laid before me from this moment on. And so it is.
Connie and I have another song for you. It's on the theme of welcoming. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. This is a song written by my good friend John Stringer. And maybe one day we'll get him to come sing it for us in person. And no matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, this is the place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here. All right now. Come on, everybody just sing with us.
Yes.
All right. Love is welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. Joy is welcome here. Joy is welcome
so very welcome here.
Yes, you are welcome here. Yes. So our conscious giving time is here. It has arrived. I know you have been waiting anxiously for it. It is here now. So freely, say with me, please. Freely, I give with a feeling of abundance, knowing that my gift blesses others and myself as well.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And our affirmation, I am grateful for the divine givingness circulating abundantly through my life, our community, and our world. And our announcements, is that cute?
Very cute. Yes.
Thank you, Ronnie. She's been doing our bulletins in case you didn't know.
Oh, Ronnie, good job.
Yeah. She prints them out. Yes. So that's what Nate said. That is very helpful. Keeps me from running down here. Okay, so June 26th is the last Sunday of this month. And it's our celebration Sunday. We're going to acknowledge our graduates from near and far. So we have students who were in Texas and Colorado for our Art of Spiritual Mind treatment class. So we're going to have them online as well as, let me put it this way, they are going to be invited to come online. Hopefully they'll show up, and we have certificates for everybody, and so we're going to acknowledge them. And then we have new members we're going to be welcoming. So if you are a person who wants to join, be sure and fill out the form and give it to Ronnie, who will give it to the board, because the board has to say yay or nay. Yes, we want you, or no, we don't. We never say no, okay? Never say no, okay? And so if you know any members that haven't been around in a while, you might say, we're having membership Sunday, and why don't you come to church that Sunday and welcome the new members? Okay. And afterwards, we'll have potluck. Yay. And remember the last potluck we had? It was really nice, right? And so Madeline, our practitioner in California, noticed that we did not have a microwave that day because we were making the announcement, we don't have a microwave. So she gave us one. Yes. So we have a microwave. So thank you, Madeline. I don't know if she's online today. She's not online today. Well, anyway, I'll be letting her know that you're grateful. And so we have a microwave, and but we decided it takes a lot of power, so we won't use it till after service because we do not want that stuff to go down. Okay. And as we're doing announcements, I want you to know Marcia has been being above and beyond. I'm so glad school's out this week. Marcia has been over here because the internet has been down multiple times. And see that camera up there? We have cameras in here. And see that camera up there? It's for security camera. She had to get up there because when the internet goes out, the cameras go out, and you have to get up there so let's give Marcia some love, okay? She's God, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And so Comcast did they come back? They had to come back out, or they just fixed it online? Okay, good. Anyway, so let's just pray that it stays that way. All right. So, and then we'll have I hope the board doesn't mind, but somebody has a birthday on the 14th. So, and somebody said that they were going to be out of town. So I decided to have the board meeting on the 19th instead. So we had to put something in here. I didn't check with the board members, so hopefully everybody's good with that. If not, well, we'll just make adjustments. But anyway, so we have a board meeting on the 19th. Thank you all so much for being here, for those of you out there and those of you in here. And summer is arriving this month officially, and this is Pride Month too. So we'll get some acknowledgement on that later. Okay, it was like I got all this done, and then I did the newsletter, and it's like, this is Pride Month. I have to remember to say something about that. So we'll do that next time. All right. Shall we? Thank you. The board wants to start having us do visioning, and we're going to do it after church. So we did not set a date though, I don't think, did we? Yeah, first and third. Let's start in July. Because I know, oh, yes, we did. We said we were going to do first and third. This is the first. Yes, I forgot. Okay, so let's look at the third Sunday would be the 19th with the board meeting. So we'll just do it with the board meeting as part of the board meeting. Okay, and then it'll be in July. We change it because the first Sunday is a holiday weekend. So we changed it. So anyway, we're going to be doing visioning, and I'll write it up in the newsletter, and we'll talk about that next week. Okay. Yeah, and everybody is invited online and in here. Yes, and we're going to be doing visioning for our spiritual community throughout the summer. Don't miss it, don't miss it, don't miss it. We visioned this place, and so we're good at this stuff, you know? Yeah. And some people took classes, and they're visioning for themselves too. So it won't be just, it'll be visioning for our spiritual community, but visioning for your own life as well. You know, all those changes that you want, you had a lot of years of people telling you other stuff in the old paradigm. So we have visioning in classes and stuff to help us move to new paradigms and, create molds, and so we can stay put. Okay. Shall we close? Okay. We're all done for today. Go out and have a great day, a great week, and a great life. Okay. All right, and peace song. Oh, no, closing affirmation first. Yes, up there. We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world. Only good goes from us, and only good comes to us. And so it is.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with spirit as our creator, united all are we. Walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. Take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Woo! Thank you, everybody. And Connie did a great job today, don't you think? Woo-hoo! Yes, she did. Thank you, Mike.